You can really feel the pain
but it's
of the transition.
So exaggerated.
Brutal. There's a scene out of No Way Home. Everything, Tom, everything is CGI, including Tom Holland.
Hello, and welcome back to Cinema Rules and the third episode of How To Hollywood. What is How To Hollywood, Sean?
How To Hollywood is where we look at some of our favourite movies and our favourite scenes, and we tell you, the audience, exactly how they achieved the best effects, camera techniques to really sell their vision.
And we've looked at some great scenes already in the past two episodes, so go and check them out if you haven't seen them.
So in today's episode, we dive deep into horror, Tom. I've picked two horror classics.
You absolute horror of a human being.
For my clips today, American Werewolf in London,
Fantastic.
and Evil Dead 2.
I'm hoping it's the transition scene of the werewolf, but how fitting, Sean, that you've chosen Evil Dead, because I have also chosen Sam Raimi, but Spider-Man, the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And I'm going to tell you, or you're going to learn, you probably know already, but you're going to learn how Tobey Maguire is responsible for one of the most exciting practical effects in cinema history. If you want to check out our uncut, much longer and extended versions of these How To Hollywood episodes, then you can go and check them out on our Patreon channel now as we speak.
As for an example, the last episode, episode 2 on YouTube, was 16 minutes long. However, the Patreon episode is over 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and you get to see and understand why Sean hates the editing transition in 2001: A Space Odyssey from the bone to the spaceship.
Yeah.
And why do I hate it? Cinema.
Yeah. Why do I hate it? Go check it out on Patreon. American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Now, can I just say, the people that watched this in the cinema, there are accounts of people just cheering, clapping, applauding this movie. You can really feel the pain and just the agonising screams of the actor.
Oh, I forgot about this bit. Now at this point he's got to be in the floor, and that's got to be a fake torso, I would say.
And the music in the background is still contrasting what's going on. And then the snout that finished the whole transformation off. How do you think it was done, Tom?
It's a masterpiece of a transition. The best werewolf transition in cinema.
100%.
I mean, there are some really memorable ones out there.
Before you even guess, this film and the practical effects artist named Rick Baker, he and this film, this specific scene, is the reason why they have a best makeup category in the Oscars.
The winner is Rick Baker for An American Werewolf in London.
There was no category prior to this film, and this is what made it. And he won this, obviously the Oscar for this, but then went on to win another 6 times, which included The Nutty Professor with
Eddie Murphy,
The Grinch.
Yeah, great makeup.
And the Wolfman 2011 movie with Benicio del Toro.
Interesting.
Yes, we'll get to that.
I always wanted to see that transition of that film.
We'll get to that later in the video.
Out there was somebody that said something about, do you remember when we watched The Howling? The transition there. Apparently, I think someone might have worked on this film and then gone to that, but it wasn't the main practical effects and makeup guy. But horror movies in the 80s, man, they do so much to push the boundaries of makeup and practical effects.
Yeah.
And it is an art form. I mean, obviously it's practical, but the bits that get me are the elongation of the limbs, like the hands, the feet, the fingers, and the nose. The ear as well. I feel like some bits are kind of not stop motion, but a lot of the work's done with sound editing.
Yeah,
a lot of the work is done with cutting as well to different points, close-ups of the actor in full face makeup and so on. It must be some kind of silicone clay-like material that is used for the limbs as well.
Originally, the director wanted to film this shot in a single wide shot, no cuts, just fully looking at the transformation. However, upon developing the scene and what was going on, the crew found out that it was pretty much impossible to do that with practical effects.
It's one of those moments as well where the audience fill in the gaps naturally themselves.
But with the close-ups, they're really able to emphasize this really, really cool effect. And fast-paced but slow, agonising transformation.
That one definitely that I said, where you kind of see his concaved kind of stomach that's going inwards. I reckon he's definitely in the floor, and it's like a model body put out in front of him. So it's kind of like...
So you're definitely right in the ground there. Even the legs are props, and his arms are in full makeup, his shoulders are in full makeup, and his face is in full makeup, and it's just the torso being laid on top of him. It's seamless with the arms and the torso. It's seamless. In the scene, you can actually see, when he's twisted and turning, you can see the edges of that shell. You can almost see it, but it's so seamless.
So my question is then, how do they do the bit where his snout starts kind of like elongating out? Because that's the bit that looks kind of like it's pushing out of his actual face.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a second, because that is the grand finale. That is the shot that really sells the effect. But before we get there, I wanted to kind of tell you how they filmed this in sequence. So instead of, and it's a really good decision that they did this to save on time and money, and especially time in the makeup, is that they filmed this backwards.
Okay.
So not obviously in reverse, but they filmed it in stages, but they started from the end first and worked their way back to the middle. And the main reason for that is because of the hair. So they put the full costume on him, full makeup, full length of hair, and then with each stage working backwards, they just shaved him. Instead of getting different stages of hair, making different stages of hair, they just simply shaved him. But there's a scene in this where you see the hair grow out of the skin. So that
doesn't look like... It looks like growing, but to me it looks like they've just put a fan on it and it's slowed down or something like that.
And the hair moves in a very odd way because it is tangled. It's not completely straight.
Yeah.
So what they did is it's a piece of skin made out of foam latex. And they poked holes through it and obviously fed each hair through. But what they did is then they pulled the hairs all the way through so it would go into the skin. And then they just played it in reverse. So it looked like it was growing out of the skin.
Oh, I see. I see.
Simple effect.
Whenever you have a kind of... In sci-fi and horror, it's even more so. Whenever you have a creature that's like covered in hair... A lot of the time they do thread like each individual hair on that costume.
Yeah, they do.
Perfectly like themselves, each individual one.
Moving on to the stretchiness or the stretch nature of this model. They actually named it, they had a nickname. It was called Change-O Hand, Change-O Foot and Change-O Head. Technically 3 main shots to do, which was the head, face, the feet and the hands. And normally with a model like this, they would create a cast of the person's body, and then they would fill it with this foam latex material. But with foam latex, if you were to pull it, stretch it, it would just rip apart. So they had to create this material that would enable them to stretch it without it breaking apart. And they had to use this material called urethane elastomer, and it was plasticized so much so that they were able to stretch it. And bearing in mind that this material plasticized over time, so eventually it would liquefy over time. But they just had enough time to pull off these effects without it going into this goo-like material eventually. So they would create a cast on the actor, fill it with this urethane elastomer material, carve a hole, and they would then stick a hydraulic exoskeleton type of device that would then simply push through that material and extend urethane elastic mold, essentially, creating that stretchy effect. This is one of the behind the scenes photos of the hand stretch, almost CGI in that moment. It doesn't look like it's actually part of the scene.
When they shoot it, you don't see his arm.
You don't see his arm, so you can see his arm there. It's not fully hidden, it's just the composition of the shot, and you can see the crew members holding this mechanism. The right arm is probably pushing up to create that effect within that alarm, that stretch effect. It doesn't look like it's a part of the scene, but I think that's because of the uncanny nature of the stretchiness, but also the colorization of the skin. The feet are casted, and then they just have an exoskeleton pushing up, like using hydraulics to create that. That's obviously not his head. That's a fully casted face and head by creating a cast of a head that the eyes wouldn't have been able to sell the effect. That people would understand that that's not actually a person. So they made the conscious decision to make the mold with its eyes closed shut, which really sold the agony of the transition.
It works with the pain of the scene, doesn't it?
It really does. So it's so simple, but so well crafted and put together. It's just a brilliant piece of practical effects.
In terms of like transformation scenes, I don't think you can beat it.
Fast forward to 2011, The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro starring as the Wolfman.
This isn't the main scene I wanted to show you, but we've got to watch this scene first because it's so iconic. Interesting that is a scene after we've just watched the hair coming through on American Werewolf. It's just
the brass,
one of the most
instruments.
One of the most iconic moments. Scenes in superhero films.
Brilliant.
These scenes are great as well.
Go Web, go.
We always reference that, don't we? Like, I'm sorry guys, I don't even care as well. Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man.
I'm going to go controversial here. Or maybe I'm not, but I think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man.
The nostalgia overrides anything you say.
I think Andrew Garfield is too good looking to be Peter Parker, I guess, but his mannerisms and his attitude, I just feel is better. I think he had a better reception in the No Way Home as well.
Yeah, I don't know why that was. Maybe it's because people felt he got underserved.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's just a better actor as well.
I really want to try this out.
Is this what we're trying out today in today's video?
Yeah, this is what I was on about. Outside this flat. The first one is that iconic wall crawling scene here. How does Sam Raimi craft this scene?
Easy. The wall is the floor, and he uses the camera angles to make it look like it's a vertical drop, and then he manipulates the angle of the camera in order to then become horizontal and parallel with Peter Parker as he's just crawling along the floor.
So yeah, you are right. In this film, there are occasions where Sam Raimi utilises the floor as in terms of angling, so that you can get the perception here that Tobey Maguire is actually going straight at the wall, and you have green screens on either side that they then fill in afterwards with the skyline. But allegedly here, for this scene, they also shot this with actual wires.
Oh, okay.
They digitally removed those in post.
Okay, that was completely plausible as well. I guess it saves them from actually having to recreate a whole floor practically and just get him up on wires. It's a much simpler solution, I guess.
The free running roof jumping scene that we watched as well was also done with wires on top of buildings.
Yeah.
The bird's eye view shots obviously CGI, but when you see his face as he's going up there, these are actual real shots.
Okay.
Of him landing and jumping.
It seems to me though that in the film, when he's running parallel with the camera.
So when the camera's panning across the buildings.
Yeah, it seems to me that he's been replaced with a digital.
So that person running is CGI.
Okay,
but then again, when he jumps up and you see that
his reaction in his face when he's doing that.
They are the shots
Those
that we've just seen there with the wire work and so on.
Yeah, it makes
sense. And
sense.
again, I love that because it's such an amalgamation, isn't it, between that practical and that CGI.
Yeah.
Whereas today,
the whole thing.
If you have seen behind the scenes of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, he doesn't even have the Spider-Man suit on.
No, I know.
Even that is CGI.
There's a scene out of No Way Home where he's simply walking across the street to Doctor Strange's building. Yeah. Everything, Tom. Everything is CGI, including Tom Holland.
It's
stupid.
It baffles me.
It really, and it kind of saddens me a little bit.
I mean, the audience probably doesn't realise half the time that that's
and
happening, especially in a
realise.
scene like that. I didn't realise that was the case. At the same time, doesn't it take away something from the actual filmmaking process? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you can say that CGI is completely art as well. Especially for the actors, I would say that it saps them out of the scene.
I've said this before in the previous episodes that, you know, it's a business, time and money. So they probably needed a shot. They didn't have time or the money to go out and people's schedules to film that simple walking across the street scene, which is just essentially an establishing shot of exactly where the characters are. They probably forgot to do that, or they needed it in post-production.
I mean, obviously it's CGI when they zoom into the finger and you see their hairs coming out there as well. But that one works effectively, I think. Moving on, Shaun, to the scene that I really want to show you.
Yeah.
Okay? Some people say one of the best effects
I know where this is going.
Okay?
I know where this is going.
The cafeteria scene from Spider-Man. Do you know?
Is it like 132 or something?
No.
160.
156 times it took Tobey Maguire to get that shot. So that means you know that it's not CGI then?
Yeah.
So this is created via a kind of system of rigging and pulleys that's set up to drop the objects in a timed fashion.
Yeah.
It is edited in post-production, but 156 times. All it is a simple practical shot with, as I said, this system of pulleys and riggings in place to drop the items kind of one by one. Kirsten Dunst mentions that her reaction when he actually gets it is 100% real, and like the oh wow, I think is like unscripted as well. So this bit's the sped up bit there.
Sped up a little bit.
Do you know, that actually ties into what we've been saying a bit as well, because would you get as good a performance from the actors if it was done, CGI?
Yeah.
Like, would you get that kind of breathless look from Tobey Maguire or the smile from Kirsten Dunst in that scene?
I think you would get the shot. I think you would get the reaction, but I think there would be a sense of loss of soul in the truthfulness behind the reaction.
And on a wider, in the film space as well, or in what would we call it, pop culture in general, stories like that and scenes like that also give more kind of weight and meaning to a film and its production as well.
Yeah.
So, Shaun, someone was telling me that only 39% of people that watch our videos are subscribed.
Well, shout out to those people because they know what they're doing in life. And
they know the cinema rules.
The other 60% or whatever of you that are not subscribed that are watching these videos right now, if you like this content, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 100k this year, hopefully. We've got a few months left.
The quest continues.
Yes.
Take it away with Sam Raimi, but going back
to the 80s.
To his earlier days of filming when he was a wee whippersnapper learning the craft of making a film. Which Evil Dead is it?
The second one.
The best one.
So this scene is Linda's got a chainsaw scene. Linda is obviously his
oh,
girlfriend
yeah, I remember. Oh, the body. Yeah, I remember.
It feels so part of the scene, like even the colorization.
It's real,
of it,
isn't it?
It feels real. How do you think they made that?
I think it's definitely puppeteering.
Yeah.
I don't know about the head though, sitting on the side. I don't know whether that's actually her, and then like they've put planks around her or whatever to look like she's like a kind of severed head, or whether it is. It's got to be a person that.
Yeah. So she is sitting underneath the table.
Yeah.
There's a hole in the table.
Yeah.
And then she's got a bit of makeup of flesh that comes down and over the seam of the hole in the table to make her look like she's just a head on that mechanism. But in terms of
I'm guessing it's a person in that torso, and they've just kind of fabricated it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Wrong. Yeah, so essentially
it's a puppet.
It's funny actually. They created a mold of this actress, her torso. She was in this mold like this, and they used two of a mold. The first one was when she was decapitated, and it was just a normal body. And then they took a second mold, or they took that same mold, and the practical effects artists essentially used their tools to decompose that already casted mould of her body, and that formed this scene. And it's funny because she's got her arms up. They are wrapped in some wire, very thin wire, that were held by people that were in the rafters of this cabin.
Yeah, so when you say she's got her arms up, you mean the puppet?
The puppet, the puppet's got her arms up.
Yeah,
and there's people puppeteering.
So it's
wires.
literally like basic puppeteering.
Essentially,
yeah.
Entrance of the roof is removed from this shed so that they're able to start it from inside to out. But in terms of how the torso is moving about, there is literally someone lying down on the floor on a skateboard. Yeah, they have a pole in the torso, and what he does is he smacks the door open using his foot,
and then
someone rolls him in from the other side of the cabin on a skateboard, and he's like there just waving it about and twisting and turning it. So you actually see there's a frame in this shot where you see the hand of the puppeteer.
I see it there.
With the stick,
the pole.
with the pole.
Oh my god!
Sticking through.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That is so funny. Wow.
It's tiny little things like that. Obviously, it's only a couple of frames.
Let us know what scenes that you find amazing or transformative in films that you enjoy.
And let us know which scenes that you don't know how we're done, but you would like us to explore and tell you guys in this type of formatted video.
This has been How To Hollywood, Shaun.
Episode 3. Go back and watch episode 1 and 2 if you have not already. We're enjoying these series. We hope you are too. Yes, we might be doing these videos that are very similar to Corridor Crew's Visual Effects Artists React. However, we are massive fans of that channel. We are just drawing inspiration from them. We're not just doing it to copy them, but we love movies so much that we want to understand how they're made. And this is not only educational to you guys, but educational to us. You know, the reason why we started this channel originally to react to movies is to learn and to expose ourselves to so much more, many more movies that we hadn't seen before. And this new series is quite fresh to us because the reactions can only take you so far in terms of learning about filmmaking.
And you know what? It's good revisiting some of the films
that we've already watched
and understanding how they created those scenes, because that when we first watched American Werewolf in London, if you've seen our reaction, like I had no idea. Wow.
Not even no idea, but the thought didn't even cross our mind.
You just think we
were so naive to the situation. I think that's because we were watching it as a fan. We weren't watching it to analyse it. We were just watching it to be engrossed in the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see the full-length, uncut version of this video, go and check out our Patreon page down in the description below. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, get us to 100k subscribers, and join us on this journey with us.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.